Hi guys, and welcome to this video where I'm going to give the top 5 best Thomas and Friends episodes. Disclaimer before we start. I like the Brenner era more than the old classic series. Yeah, I know, it's controversial, but I don't really care. I don't care but no, I'm better. So, yeah. This is top 5 best CGI episodes. Number 10, Confused Coaches. Confused Coaches is one of my favorite episodes. All of these are some of my favorite episodes. It's pretty obvious. But this episode follows Spencer and Gordon. It is their final episode together in the whole show. This is why I like season 21 a lot. It has a lot of finale-esque to it, if you know what I mean. It really is what I think season 21 is so good. It has so much finale-esque to it. I don't know if this was on purpose, but I kind of think it is. It's the final really good season of Thomas. Season 21 is my favorite season of the entire show. And it's probably because of all the finale-esque to it. This episode is amazing with that regard. It's the final episode featuring Spencer. Kind of. He does make a small appearance later on. But it's the final time he interacts with Gordon. And they end the episode off with no longer being competitive to each other. Hopefully this stays in the new 2026 show. I'm not even sure Spencer's going to be in this. But if he is, I hope they stick to this. But I'm not. I don't think they will. But I love it. This episode is all about just the greatness of how you can actually make great changes. This is one of my least favorite things about the Brenner era, is that they stick to the same thing every time. And when something does happen, that sticks for the whole entire show going on. Like Duck getting his slip coaches. And this episode is one of that, where no longer Spencer and Gordon are mean to each other or even banter. It's why I think it is in the number 10 spot. Let's go move on to the next. Number 9. Number 9, Thomas and Birdie. I really like Thomas and Birdie. This episode is the first episode that has Birdie, who's one of my favorite characters. I especially like him in the Brenner era, but I can still like him in the model era. This episode is when they first have their first race, which is something that I really like. I like that they race a lot. I know that it's not really consistent and stuff, but in the Brenner era, they really play with Birdie and Thomas. Annie and Claire Bell also speak a lot in this episode. Well, not a lot. They kind of speak. And I think it is a really fun episode. Thomas and Birdie racing actually mirrors real life in some ways, where railways and buses kind of had like the fight, so they would race. You know, it's kind of like that. Obviously, this is based off a Railway series book, so this episode was obviously inspired by Thomas the Tank Engine again, where the story took place. But that's really cool. I also do want to make a video where I do the top 10 Railway series books by Wilbur Audrey, but I'm not finished reading those all. I still have like 3 more left. I have Duke the Lost Engine, Tramway Engines, and also the Western Engine. Yeah, but just to get back to the episode. I think racing Birdie, especially in Wonder Sodor, this episode just did so much with world building, so much stuff, and I think it really deserves the number 9 spot. And obviously, like I said, season 1 is my favorite Marvel season, and I really like it. So, let's move on to number 8. Number 8, Love Me Tender. Now, Love Me Tender is a pretty known great episode from the Brenner era, releasing in season 20, which I think is the second best Brenner season. Now, I think this episode is really good. Dawn and Douglas are very good, but I don't think it's their best episode in CGI. That's coming up next. But this episode still is very cool. This is an episode that really takes back to the classic era. We've actually so cool how this episode is like how they used to in season 2 when they're introduced, where we have them snow plowing. Like they're snow plowing the main line with the coach in between. It's like full like they used to do. It's very, 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 very cool. I think this episode is very cool. It really shows Donald Douglas, who haven't appeared in the show since season 12. In season 20, 8-season gap, and they return in such a banger episode. Well, they did return in the movie, Soda's Legend of Lost Treasure, but in the actual epic episode in the TV show, this is amazing. And it's really just cool to see how the new writers handle the characters. I think they did a great job handling them in season 20 and season 21. I think they did a lot better handling them than they did with Duck and all of it. I don't want to get into tangent. I make a whole video on this, but one of the biggest problem with it, with the bonus launch, is Duck and all of it. They don't need to talk in every single episode. Blah, 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 quack, 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 quack. That is what I think when Donald Douglas talks in season 17 and 18. They do get better, but like, holy. You know what's better? There's only 2 ways of doing things, Carl. The Great Mystery and the Rolling. What the hell up, Duck? Let's just go on to the next episode, because I'm going to get carried away. Number 7, Emily in the Middle. Emily in the Middle is my favorite Donald Douglas episode in the CGI series. It is amazing. I think it's utterly just great. It's great. I love it. It's amazing. It's really good. So it's about Donald Douglas and Emily. Now, this is from season 21. In season 20, Love Me Tender, where it was Donald and Douglas. Now we're introducing a new character into that dynamic, which is Emily, hence the name Emily in the Middle. Now, this episode gets lots of complaints for it being like Love Me Tender, but I don't think it is, because Love Me Tender was more about Donald and Douglas. Well, this is about Donald, Douglas, and Emily. Sure, there are some same ideas, but I still think it's a little bit better. Emily in the Middle is really cool because it actually goes back to the other episodes. I forget the names, obviously, but like when Donald goes back into the signal box, those are really cool stuff. I don't remember the name. The deputation, that's the last one. Okay, let's just continue. This episode is utterly amazing. I give it a 10. I give it an 8 out of 10. It is really good. I love Donald and Douglas. And I can do a pretty good impression of their voice, you know. But I think that this episode could be better. I only have one complaint about it. The one complaint is that it is kind of similar to the other one. Even takes place in Tennessee. But like I said before, it is different, but it is a little similar in some ways. I do think it's better, but I also think it's similar. And I think lots of people's opinions are still very valid, and I think that this episode is this is the one that I think my opinion on it is definitely the most like, wow, that's weird. Yeah, so let's move on to the next one. Number 6. My number 1 episode is Unscheduled Stuff. Oh boy, this is a great episode. I love every episode that takes place in Thomas's Rain Farm in the bonus episode. This one is
definitely going to win the race today, Birdie. We'll see about that.
Like I said in Thomas and Birdie, I love Thomas Birdie's dynamic. It is so good in the Brenda. I swear to God, this is my favorite episode of all of them. It is amazing what they could do in this amount of time. It is so good at it. Unscheduled Stuff is what I want from a Thomas episode.
Thomas and Bertie like to race each other to the end of the line.
They
can
both
say
know
every trick,
that the first to
every
the level
trick is
crossing
nice and
usually
cheeky.
wins.
But only one time is the character that we know is in ass. He is a cheeky little prick. His case in point. There's some great things.
Bye, Birdie.
This bet is really contested with any of the Thomas season 19, 20, or 21 episodes on Thomas Frank. Thomas the Babysitter was on this year, but it wasn't, and I didn't put it on this list because I didn't want it. 3 Thomas and Birdie episodes on this list. Only 2. But
Don't worry,
Stuff
Birdie.
is amazing
We'll continue
episode.
the
I
race
really
as soon
need
as
to
you're ready to
continue
go
with
again.
you. But
Unless you're
But
just
before I do that,
pretending to have a problem
just
because
looked up
I
the
was winning.
next
But
video on the
excuse
channel. It's
me,
been a while since
I
made a
was
Thomas
clearly
video.
ahead,
And my
and I
next
would have
video
crossed
is
first
going
if there
to
wasn't something
be
wrong with my engine.
Probably the
You've
new
blown a
Call of Duty.
gasket, Bertie. Oh,
Get ready for that.
But what
It's probably
about my
recent.
passengers?
One day.
Maybe I could help. Some of your stops
Probably
are close to
tomorrow,
my
I think.
stations.
Oh, thank
So
you,
get ready for
Thomas.
And with that, I would like to say thank you for watching. And Jay, hi Jay, how you doing? Yeah.
What?
Goodbye.
Is it?
Is anything wrong,
See ya.
sir?